Hello. So we're going to be looking at May 2024. I have extensive notes and I'm going to try to keep these short because my feeling when I watch anything like this is somebody might give me a ton of good information, but if it's too long and too involved, I won't remember even the gist of it. I won't remember anything. And so I'm assuming at least a fair percentage of people are like me, and it's better just stick with the main theme so that you can hang on to something and remember something from this. So I think it serves you and your time invested in watching anything like this, and also my time in making sure I give you like the most important bits of what's coming up in May. So, I mean, look at my notes. I could have gone on. And I will say up front, I'm not going to cover the moons. I'll do that separately because it's sort of a distraction from the main events. Um, so getting into this, I just want to kind of review that when I am looking at teaching astrology, which I did a long time ago, it's important for you, the listener, to keep in mind that the planets, anything I say about the planets or the energies or anything like that, it's all going on inside of you. This is all about your internal workings, the bits of your psyche, the bits of your personality that are all functioning together. You're not just one thing, it's one solid thing inside of you. You're a lot of moving parts. You feel it all the time, those times when you're like, I feel torn, I feel torn between this and this. And then what about this? These are different parts of your personality and psyche talking to each other. One part of you might want to do thing A, and then another part of you wants to do thing B. And then there maybe is even another part of you that just feels like thing C is the best thing. So these planetary representations or metaphors really speak to something inside of you that's going on. Likewise, when I talk about the zodiac signs, like the season that we're in, like right as I record this, we're in a season of Taurus. And then we'll be moving in May into a season of Gemini. I look at these and used to teach these as stage settings. It's like the mood that's set by the scenery and the lighting. So a Taurus stage set and the lighting for Taurus and the mood set by Taurus is very different and unique from the mood and the lighting and the scenery for Gemini. So often I'll refer to a play or a musical or a movie or maybe a book or a television series or a television show that feels like whatever it is that's happening. So, and when I talk about a play or a movie or whatever, the feeling of a certain scene is going to be kind of the zodiac sign features. So for this month, the general feeling of the month, I think initially, because there's so much Taurus stuff going on and we're in a time of Taurus as we begin May, the first 3 weeks are really kind of like in this month last month I used a totally different movie and musical to refer to Taurus, but for teaching this month I'm going to use a different movie. So I don't know if you've ever seen Under the Tuscan Sun. For middle-aged women, it's like a big movie, especially women who've gotten divorced tend to really like this movie, but a lot of women have watched this movie because it's sort of this general fantasy that a lot of people have about like just chucking it all and moving to a different country and having, in this case, a little villa. It's not really a cottage, a villa in Tuscany. So I think Diane Lane is the actress who plays the main character in Under the Tuscan Sun, and that has a very Taurus feel to it. She essentially, as a character, is going to a place of more groundedness through her senses and just enjoying life. She goes, from a place of heartbreak and work, 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 and, kind of a city scene, and then land somewhere that's much more rural, pastoral, slower pace of life, enjoyment of food. There are many scenes with her cooking, and there's wine. She's in olive groves, so it's a very grounding earth sign experience. It's very Taurus. And so it's very tactile. And so that's how we begin in May. So the general setting for you is like that too. The part of you that is Taurus, and no matter what your sign is, here's another thing to remember: you're all the signs. You are actually all the signs. So there's a part of you that yearns for Taurian things, that yearns for the reason under the Tuscan sun is a popular movie the way it is. It's not just Taurus people who love that movie, it's everyone. Why? Because everybody has some Taurus in them. And right now, that Taurus part of you, no matter what your sun, your moon, your rising sign, there's a part of you that's Taurus and will always be Taurus. And right now it's highlighted. There's the reason this is so highlighted for people is because of the state of the world. People are longing for comfort. They're longing for groundedness and tactile experiences. There's a lot of going back to putting screens away, doing things by hand, knitting cozy blankies and chopping up your own food and having your own vegetable garden and flower garden. Why is this appealing? Because everybody's inner Taurus is just yearning for that. It's the part of you that can provide comfort in times of uncertainty. It's also, it helps you figure out your money situation and your actual physical comfort. And so a lot of people are thinking about that. How can I make myself more physically secure and comfortable? So, and that's the appeal of that movie. That's what it's speaking to is, like, I just need comfort. If I've been through heartbreak or anything that feels, alarming, that sense of comfort is very appealing. Tuscany's very, just in general, forget the movie, Tuscany's appealing because of all of that. So, that is the mood in the first 3 weeks. And it's, May has been set up by the whole previous year where we had Uranus in Taurus, a time when Uranus is cruising through Taurus, shaking things up, making people feel somewhat less stabilized. They're destabilized emotionally in the realm of comfort. So Taurus has been feeling this a great deal, but it's also been lighting a fire under a Taurus, lighting a fire under everybody where they are Taurus. Because again, you have Taurus inside of you. There's been this electricity flowing through there, shaking things up, alerting you to the fact that things are changing, and for you to stay comfortable and stable, things do need to change. So you need to, even if you've been very stable and comfortable for a long time, there's this sense of things being stirred up. And so all the things that happened in April, especially the Uranus Jupiter conjunction, has altered things, changed your perception about what this will be for you, what this part of your life will be like, how you deal with and frame comfort. It's made you kind of move toward different decisions. Some people will be so scared about everything that they'll be still clinging to something that's just shaking and shaking, and eventually is going to shake loose. And so it will no longer be a stable thing to cling to. So the stable thing some people are still clinging to is the thing that's going to fall apart. And maybe not entirely, but it'll be crumbling. And so you'll have this sense that I can't just keep clinging to this thing that feels stable, because what if maybe this isn't really the stable thing after all? Maybe I need to let go and to do something new and to go with the flow here. And maybe even strike out on my own or create my own thing. Uranus has this very creative energy. So this is what we're coming into May with. And that big conjunction is still very influential in May. So we've set the stage, right? So we're coming in as under the Tuscan sun and all the things that appeal to that part of us. What's happening 2/3 of the way through the month is that suddenly the movie and the storyline changes. And I selected a musical and a movie and a stage production that's in a similar part of the world, kind of a stone's throw away from Tuscany in Greece, and that is Mamma Mia. So if you think about if you've ever watched the movie Under the Tuscan Sun, or maybe you read the book, which I hear is very different. But anyway, if you watch the movie, which is more what I'm talking about, the feeling you get when you're watching that movie is very different from the feeling you get when you watch or participate in Mamma Mia, So it's got a very different energy. The storyline is very different. There are many more players and people in Mamma Mia. Also, it's a musical. It's much more Gemini. So what we're talking about is the stage setting and the part of us that's being activated, the part of us, the things we yearn for, is changing from this very strong Taurus focus on comfort, 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 and feeling shaken up and destabilized. And it's moving toward Gemini and more the feeling of Mamma Mia. So think about, if you haven't watched it, maybe now's a good time to go watch it. But essentially, it's a totally different feeling, it's totally different vibe. It's still got this beautiful scenery of an island, Skopolis, by the way, in Greece. It's gorgeous. I've been there. Really gorgeous scenery. So you get that check. So that's still very appealing, but it's appealing in a different way. The story starts where, they're getting ready for a wedding. And the young woman getting married finds out through her mother's diaries that there's a potential for three fathers. She's never known her father. And so there's this potential for three fathers. So you get this multiplicity that is Gemini and the confusion that is Gemini, but also the, high level of thinking. So she gets this bright idea to invite all three men to her wedding, and then she'll just somehow figure out who her father is. And so, but she doesn't tell her mother, which is also very Gemini, a little bit sneaky, good intentions usually, but a little sneaky, the ingenious plan that can go awry. And because we have Uranus still heavily featured, even though it's not itself in Gemini is still heavily featured and will be pinging off of a lot of these different planetary energies while we go through all this and switch over to Gemini toward the end of the last third of the month. And Jupiter itself will be, it just got zinged and had its big conjunction with Uranus, and it's moving quickly, as things will feel in May, like things are moving very fast. We've just come out of a month of retrograde energy, and this is the opposite of that. Things will feel like they're moving very, very fast. Things are happening at such a fast pace that it's a little unnerving at times, perhaps. But on the 25th, Jupiter goes into Gemini. But even before then, everything's happening very, very fast. All the planets are indicated here. Everybody's inside of you, all your personalities, all the parts of your psyche are operative and activated. So this is a time when you can feel very alive, very energized. I would say the way to prepare for this month, or if you watch this in the middle of the month or toward the end of the month, is to remember to do grounding practices. Most of you, I'm sure, know what that is, to ground yourself. What is grounding for you? Walking barefoot on the ground is very grounding. Just going out into nature. For me, just being out here is very grounding. So getting outside, getting away from electricity, like your screens, your phone, even though it doesn't seem like it's powered by electricity, it actually is. You're charging a battery, and battery and things run by batteries and electricity are very Uranian and have that zingier energy. So to ground yourself, you want to step away. So what can you do to ground yourself as you move through this very fast paced, very energized month where a lot of things are happening? inside of you. You're making lots of decisions. You're going to feel, a lot of you are going to feel like you want to just do, like action, action, action. At the same time, you want to have your goals set up. So I would say also in preparation for May, or even if you are watching this in May, what are your intentions? What do you want? A good way to figure this out is imagine, is engaging your imagination if you're not sure what you want, or you need a little clarity because you want like 5 different things. So imagine yourself as you begin May in somehow you've walked into the actual storyline of Under the Tuscan Sun. Somehow you're just suddenly that is a story you're in. Which character do you want to be? If you know that movie, maybe there's a character that appeals to you. You can pick Diane Lane's character, but maybe that's not your character. Maybe you're a totally new character that wanders into that storyline. So there you are in Tuscany somehow. What do you want out of this? What are you looking for? Are you looking to set up an online store down the street from Diane Lane? Or, are you her neighbor? Are you somebody who's in town on vacation? Who are you and what are you there to do? And knowing that a lot of action is required. You're not just there on vacation. You may be on vacation in May, but this is not a time for your brain to be on vacation. This is not a time to just, relax into things. Take a vacation in May, but this is a time for a lot of things to change. Now, maybe while on vacation, just like Diane Lane, you make a lot of big decisions, like you go to France or Portugal or some other part of the far-flung world, and you do a Diane Lane and you buy a villa there or a cottage or a flat or a hut, and you totally change your life. That is among the possibilities for some people. So maybe going on vacation is a part of your big life change and your big life-changing moment, because a lot of life-changing things are happening at this time. So what are your intentions for May? Given what you know about your life, what do you need to solve? What needs to get solved in May, ideally? What do you want to build? There's a lot of building, creating energy for this month. What do you want to create? What do you want to build? Again, first 2/3 of the month, think more the setting of building security for yourself, finding a home, a work home, a career home, a friend home, maybe an actual home, some kind of stability and grounding yourself in the first 2/3. But these are decisions to be made, things to be done, decisions, things need to happen. It's not just, like last month, April was the time to dream big. Now it's like, now that you've been doing the dreaming, what do you actually want to have happen in May? What do you want to set in motion? What seeds do you want to plant? So that's how you figure out, because you need to have some specifics, ideally, for this energy to work for you. Because otherwise, this energy is very overpowering, big, heavenly energy inside of you. All this energy, all the parts of your psyche activated, can be overwhelming for some people. And it'll actually cause some people to shut down, but it's a very painful kind of shutdown. It's not a fun kind of shutdown. It's also very manic energy. So if you tend toward hyperactivity or mania for any reason, it's just a part of who you are. It's very good to have some specific goals that you want to go after, or plant the seeds or set the stage for in May, so that you have something reining you in, something keeping you focused. And then the grounding practices daily, I would recommend that people find ways to ground themselves, even if it's just going outside for a few minutes, maybe a little less screen time, 30 minutes less than usual. Just start with a little, start pulling yourself away from electrical gadgets or battery powered gadgets, and ground yourself. This will help you focus, because it is a time, again, of this very activated internal state. You can get a lot done, more than you've done all year, more than you've done in 12 months. But for it to feel like it's working out in a way that feels good, you want to be focused and grounded. So then, as you think about that latter third, the last 10 days or so of May, it's shifting to Mamma Mia energy. So put yourself in that play, in that musical, in that storyline. If you wandered into that storyline, what character do you want to be? A shop person in town as people go dancing through and then sell them stuff? Or do you want to be the mom who's totally freaked out and shocked by something your daughter did? Do you want to be the daughter who thinks she's all about getting married, but then wants to go explore the world and do her art or whatever she's doing? I forget what she said. She's some kind of artist, I think. But anyway, who do you want to be? Do you want to be one of the bride's friends who's just taking a wonderful trip to Greece and has a really cool experience and learns a lot, gets a lot of insight, and then decides to, I don't know, move to Spain? But what's your storyline as you enter that play? What, as you're in that energy of a lot of stuff happening, what are your goals in that? And how do you want to harness it in and direct yourself in that storyline? So these are ways you can think about May to help you get through the month. Again, it's exhaustive. Like, I could go through every single transit here. It's not even all of them. These are just the bigger ones. I could, but I think it's more important to know that the energy's high. It's very active. Everything's free flowing. There are very few blockages this month. So whereas in April, there were lots of holdups, slowdowns. Things kind of moved sometimes at a very slow pace. Certain things that were important to you moved at a slower pace or seemed shut down entirely. You may have felt like you shut down in some ways, or you may have just felt very tired. It's going to be different in May. So there's just this high energy. You're plugged into it because remember, this is all happening inside of you. So you're plugged in, you're energized. And the energy's so big. The idea is, how can we make this work for you? How can you work with this energy? It's like surfing or sailing, because as a surfer, you're capturing massive wave energy to propel you forward. And then you've got to have the navigation skills and kind of the confidence to get on that wave so that it can move you where you want to go. Surfers aren't randomly surfing. They know how to ride these waves. They know which direction to head in. They have goals when they're out there, especially with the really big waves. My son's a surfer. Likewise with sailors, they know where they're headed. So they have landmarks. They have direction finders and compasses and things. They know how to navigate because they know where they want to go. And they know how to navigate their own ship, which is what you're learning how to do if you do astrology this way, is you learn how to navigate your own ship so you can make the best decisions so that when the big wind comes along, it doesn't tip your boat over. You capture that wind and you actually get where you want to go, and you have a fantastic time doing it. So to deal with the big energy, you can use your imagination to think of those two storylines. You can remember to ground yourself and remember to have some intentions of what you actually want as best you can. Clarify for yourself what you want. And then, because of Uranus, being open to quick changes so that you can be quick on your feet, quick on your decision-making skills. So it's a lot to, as you can see, as I talk, I mean, it sounds fun maybe because we brought up some fun storylines, and it could be fun when you know that it's going to be big. So you've got the sailboat, the sails, big winds. You know that a sailor, the person navigating the ship in that moment, has to be prepared and to understand what to do. And so likewise, a surfer needs to understand what to do. But then again, if you look at the two stories I chose, surprising things happen. Diane Lane thinks she's being forced to go on just a leisurely trip through Tuscany, and then she You know, lightning strike, Uranian decision, has this lucky Jupiter find of this villa in Tuscany. It's incredibly lucky she can afford it, you know, but she makes this kind of seemingly crazy decision, but is like, this is what I'm going to do. You'll find yourself doing some things like that. Then if you think later into May, same thing with Mamma Mia. The person who you think is going to get married actually doesn't get married, and another person gets married. So there's a surprise switch up at the end, but everything works out, you know, it can work out. But people are acting very spontaneously at certain points in both these storylines. With the Uranian energy, that's very important for you too, while also finding ways to stay grounded. All right, take care, guys.